the course launch blueprint. So there's 4 steps that I tend to lead people through. And the first step is building your list with lead magnets. Now, every industry, every market is a little different. And so you definitely want to take what your audience would resonate with and go with that. But typically, this is what we try to do. We create some sort of asset that is going to resonate with your specific target market, right? So if someone who's not in your market sees it, they'll just be like, that's kind of random, and then they'll keep going, right? But someone who really has a need and interest in this, you're going to almost pull thoughts out of their head and put it on paper, because you know what their needs are, you know what their concerns are, their desires are, and you're going to have that be kind of that title of what your lead magnet or your freebie is going to be. So using Canva, using a video series, something to create a lead magnet that will help to solve a problem or to help achieve a transformation or some sort of bridge over some issue that your target market, your micro niche is experiencing. Okay. So some examples of lead magnets would be a 2 to 3 day mini course, a master class. So something like, let's say that we'll do a screen like this, and that even what we're doing today could be considered a freebie that I could do. Like, hey, like, how do I launch courses? I'm going to give it to you for free. Or you could say, hey, I'm going to give you a checklist, a Dungeon Master's checklist, or whatever you want to call it, or quick start guide, or first time Dungeon Master's guide, or I don't know. You're more knowledgeable about your course and industry, right? But I'm just throwing stuff out there.
No, I like it.
What kind of things kind of come to mind to you that might be helpful, or like might be some lead magnets or ideas that may work for you in that realm?
I think for me, something along the lines of a training, mostly for like new dungeon masters and whatnot, maybe go over the rules of Dungeons and Dragons or different reasons. So that for me, I've been thinking a lot about that. So I'm trying to still figure it out. A checklist might be good. So some sort of physical resource that they can print out as well. But then obviously, leading more into like at the end, like, oh, if you want even more resources, here's my course as well. We could give you 30% off or whatever. So I think for me, it's just trying to figure out the right magnet at this time.
Yes, and that's the catch. And you hit the nail on the head. What's really important about having a lead magnet is it needs to make sense in the customer journey, right? Highlight what understanding who your prime person is in this niche and saying, okay, what are the goals that they're wanting to achieve, and then the struggles they're going to experience to get there. So if it's like, hey, I've been hearing about Dungeons and Dragons, I'm curious about it, I'd like to learn more. Or, hey, I've been a player, but I'd like to transition to being, a dungeon master. Is that the right term? Dungeon master, right?
Yeah.
I'd like to transition to becoming a dungeon master, but like, man, there's a gap there between my knowledge. Then you can say, okay, what questions are they going to have? What problems do I need to solve in between there? And create something that's powerful that you can give to them for free. That is genuine value. A lot of people are like, hey, I want to save my best stuff for my course. It's like, yeah, that's true. But at the same time, on the front end, you need to make an impression quickly. And you need to make them really understand and feel that you are there for them to help them succeed. And then once you have given them that value and help them overcome a problem, there will be this feeling of reciprocity where they're like, hey, I feel like I need to kind of learn more from you and like go to that next phase. And then you simply make that invitation to learn more and go to the next step, right? So, hey, what we've done here together is great. It's an amazing first step. But if you really want to get involved in this, I definitely recommend XYZ, right? Whatever path you want to take them through. So what I recommend doing is, number one, building your list with some sort of lead magnet. I like to recommend doing 2 lead magnets. So trying to find 2 problems that can be solved, and then some way or fashion in which you can help solve them. So what I'll often do is say, create a physical, or not, digital, right? But like an asset. So a checklist or a guide or something that you can make in Canva quite easily, might take a couple of days, but you can create something that way. So that could be lead magnet 1. And then I'd recommend doing lead magnet 2, which is maybe like a video like this, where you're going through, a checklist and doing a screen recording. And then that way you have kind of two different angles of a way to approach people. And maybe it's each of those solve a slightly different problem, or they approach it in a different way. That way you can kind of have two approaches to try to get these people. So after we create those two lead magnets, we will want to generate organic traffic and send them to an opt-in page. So that's where Coursey it comes in. We now have our assets. So when we go in, we create a page that has those opt-in elements through a form. And that form can either be just embedded in the page, or it can be, click the button and a pop-up comes up with the form there. But what's important is we need to at least get their name. I mean, at minimum, get their email, right? But our goal is to get the name and email, and if you can, the phone number. You decide what your strategy is going to be, whether you want to be able to do texting automations too. If I can get them, I love to get phone numbers, but at minimum, get the email, and that will allow you to then lead them through some automated stuff. So the automated freebie delivery. So we'll make a system where it's like, hey, once the form has been filled out, it will automatically send them an email. And in that email will be kind of a welcome message. It will be a link to download that particular asset or to view the video. And then we'll do an automated follow-up and nurture sequence with the entire goal of saying, hey, let's warm you up. Let's make sure you're having success within that freebie, that lead magnet, and let's nurture you. And every once in a while, let's make invitations for you to take us up on that next step, right? So whether that's a strategy call, a demo, or offering that founding member price. So this is an important piece. We have a retail price, right? We often are way too concerned about pricing ourselves out of the market. Now, I'm not saying we need to go out and charge $2,000 for your course, but $100 is $100. I mean, that's money, right? $100 is money, but I think that you could, once we flesh your course out, you could probably charge $500 for something like this. Now we need to decide, at what stage where that's appropriate to get up to that price, and when we have enough content to justify that. But what I like to do is I have to say, okay, where I want this to end up being is that $500 price. And that's going to be my retail cost. But in the beginning, when I'm trying to get traction and trying to kind of curate and push this course launch dream, I do a founding member price. And that means, hey, listen, we're getting off the ground, but it's going to be $500. But for my founding members, which is going to be my first 100 people, it's going to be $99 or $125, $149, whatever you want it to be. And so that is going to lower a bit of that barrier to entry, so people can feel like it costs less, right? So they don't feel that cost concern as much. But also it's going to help get you people into the program, so you can start getting real-time live feedback on what you have created, and can start making tweaks and adding additional content where they're starting to say, hey, love modules 1 and 2. What about this and this? They'll start asking questions. And when they start asking questions, like you did to me, now I know I need to just start doing some training and adding some modules about how to actually launch your course, how to start marketing your course, right? So they're going to have those questions too, and it's going to help inform what more things you need to add to your course. Definitely in the beginning, founding member price is perfect, $99, whatever you want to charge. Definitely worth that. But as you start feeling like there's some success happening and you're like, hey, like this is cool. I think we're gonna, everyone who's in right now, like $99, great, you're in. But let's try $199. Let's see how that goes. And then eventually we're gonna come at a point where you're like, okay, like I'm seeing this kind of plateau and not work, and then we can kind of find that price that works for you. Okay. And as you mentioned, typically with courses that go to help to create a skill set that can help make me more money, I mean, those are the ones that you can charge for, charge $2,000, $2,500, $5,000, right, $15,000. I've seen every single one of those price points work depending on what someone is giving out. And typically where you can help me, I start here, I end up here. And when I'm here, I make this much more money. That tends to be able to be easier to charge more for. But that doesn't mean you can't charge that money for recreational stuff too.
Mhm.
So sorry, dude. I just love this stuff. I get passionate.
No, for sure.
So my next step in this process is, okay, well, first we start with kind of the organic traffic. So you can go, you have these opt-in pages, right? And you say, all right, now we need to start pushing people to these opt-in pages. So I go to the Facebook groups or the other groups or forums or Reddit or wherever your people hang out to talk about this stuff. Go in and start adding value in these groups, and then subtly dropping in little nuggets where you're like, hey, here's some advice, here's some whatever. Hey, I happen to have a course on this, check it out here, bam. Or hey, I happen to make an asset about this, solving this problem, check it out here. And then throwing in your links. I've got links that I've put out in all sorts of groups that are still generating results for me, because people search within the groups all the time, like, hey, how do I get my first 100 leads or whatever? And my stuff will pop up and they're like, oh, cool. So just doing it organically is kind of step one. Step two is, at least in my eyes, is starting to do more of these live events. So we've talked about doing a live event to help to create your course. Now you don't have to do it. You can do it, just recording it and then putting it out there. But what I often will do is say, okay, once we build your list and once we reach a certain goal of a certain amount of people who subscribe to your list, I will then try to start doing live events. So I'll build, again, a registration page. Basically, you'll go through the process you did with the course in a week challenge, right? But organically go out there and try to fill your event, build your list, and do some live events. And the reason why it's awesome is because you can organically, and if you want to, paid, build your list quickly. It will help you to create more assets. So it will help you create more videos that you can add to your courses or create a mini course out of, etc. The thing I love about live events is it takes someone who has never heard of me before and it warms them up to me very quickly. Because, and if it's not too bold of me to say, like, you and I had never met, but through the course of our live training, we had a chance to kind of feel like we knew each other, and we kind of got more of an endearment feeling through that process, because I was trying to help solve a problem for you, meet a goal for you. And because we spent hours together, you felt like you began to know me and who I am and what I'm about. And so it didn't feel so weird when I offered, made some sort of offer and extended an offer to learn more from me. Hopefully that was the experience, at least, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Good deal. That's why I love live events, is very quickly you can lead people from a cold lead to a warm or hot lead within a matter of days or hours.
Absolutely.
So I often will recommend live events. Not for everybody, I get it. But if it's something that you think that you could do, you send out some invitations in those groups and those forums, as well as through emails to the list you've created. Say, hey, I'm going to be doing a live event about this topic. We're gonna solve this problem, and by the end of it, you'll be able to achieve this result. Hop in there, register, let's do it. And then this gives you a chance to go through all this, but then it gives you an opportunity to extend an offer at the end of that offer at the founding member price. And so, like we talked about, it also can then build credibility. So if people are putting comments in there or sending you emails or putting posts that are like, this is freaking awesome, you can screenshot those or like write those down and say, hey, like, these are some testimonials or social proof of people who've gone through my trainings, and you can start to use those as credibility builders. And then lastly, challenges. So there's like webinars, like Zoom meetings and stuff, and then challenges are kind of like multiple days, kind of like we did, where it's essentially a transformation where you try to lead them through step by step, by the hand, to go from where they are to where they want to be. And those take a lot of effort, but they tend to yield pretty good results.
Okay.
So I'll often recommend doing lead magnets first, live events next. And then one of the main reasons why I like to do the live events next is because it gives you an opportunity to live workshop your presentation and your offer. It gives you a chance to practice how you present to your people, how you resolve their concerns, what your presentation's like. And if you do a couple of these live presentations and live events, you're going to learn what works and what doesn't. And then eventually you're going to get to a point where you're like, I am happy with the presentation I have and the offer that I've created. And when that happens, I then recommend leading them to an automated sales system. This is where we use Coursey to create an automated evergreen process to essentially create this funnel where you can put people in at the top, and then they'll be nurtured and sold at the bottom. And not all, it's not completely hands off, right? But like it's largely an evergreen model to where you don't have to be on every single demo call to get a sale.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea behind that is once you've kind of perfected your offer, perfected your presentation, let's create some evergreen assets. So create a masterclass that is pre-recorded, or a pre-recorded webinar or a pre-recorded mini course where you can take those assets and now they can work on your behalf every single time. So what I'm going to be doing, you'll probably see this soon. I did this exact process. I did a lead magnet about course creation. I did a live event about how to create a course in a week. Now I'm going to be creating a masterclass with the things that I've learned and things I want to do better about how to effectively use AI and other tools to create your course and launch it in 1 week's time.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end of that, I'm going to make my special offer with bonuses, asking them to sign up for a Coursey to receive the courses and automations and assets that you experienced, and try to get them to sign up for Coursey. So, just showing you that's kind of the process that I'm going through right now. So at the end of that, you have, so you send them to a registration page to kind of get them signed up for the masterclass. You then give them instant access to that asset. So while they're saying yes, while they're there saying, hey, I'm interested in this, they click submit on that form. They're taken right to a watch room where they can watch that masterclass or pre-recorded webinar or the mini course.
Okay.
And here's a couple reasons why. I used to be really, really big into webinars. The problem with webinars is the show up rates are not as great. I mean, like we talked about doing live events and webinars and why it's important, but to scale and grow your business predictably, I don't think webinars are necessarily the only path, because you have to show up every single time, take time out of your day, and every single day is different for you and for me. I may show up today and be super pumped, way into it, high energy, thinking clearly, and deliver my message very well. But what if I spend $3,000 in ads for a webinar and I had a terrible night's sleep, my kid was up screaming all night, and I'm not feeling it? Like I'm going to be way less effective, and I'm going to get way worse results. Whereas if I create this pre-recorded masterclass on my curated and more awesome offer and presentation, then I know that I'm showing up awesome every single time and very, very effectively presenting my offer, and I have the highest degree of likelihood of success. So that's why I love kind of doing these pre-recorded assets. You make that special offer and bonuses, and you follow it up with automations that say, things you've seen in the past from others of emails and texts. They're like, hey, like we saw you hopped on our call, haven't seen you in our group yet. Like, did you have any questions? And so you can start doing follow-ups, and you can start sharing testimonials, and heck, if you want, you can even do manual phone calls, whatever you need to do to then take them from that warm lead with a few concerns, resolve those concerns, and then get them across to the finish line.
So that's a lot of the benefit of Coursey itself. It's just the automation and everything.
Big time.
It's pretty amazing that you can have everything in here, because I was like, before I got into Coursey, I looked at other, places, and it's like, oh, well, hosting itself is like $100, but then it doesn't have all the automation and stuff like that. So it's really cool that you just have all that in place.
Thank you. It really is, isn't it?
Yeah.
I wanted to bring as many cool features into one offering as possible.
Seriously, yeah.
So then the last section of this is number 4 is scaling. So you've started to build your list with lead magnets. You've been doing live events. You've perfected your presentation and your offer. You've created automated assets, and now you have a proven automated sales system in place. Now it's time to scale. It's time to put fuel underneath you to kind of build that fire to drive your business. So I will then start implementing Facebook ads, Facebook lead ads in particular, because I will then take those lead ads and I will drive them to my automated masterclass or my mini course. And then I will have the automations in place and everything. So once I have that asset that can work for me, that masterclass, then you pour people into the top of the funnel, and it automatically does it all with some manual follow-up to make sure I can answer any questions that come up and things. But essentially at that point, it just becomes kind of a numbers game and a process of perfecting your ads and making sure that you're delivering what you're promising. So yeah, that's when I'll usually start to do ads. And then I'll say, okay, next thing here is the affiliate program. You can, when you're out there and you're having people who are like, I love what you do. You're amazing. I've had this problem. You solved my problem for me. You can say, heck yeah, dude. Well, do you want to make some money promoting it too? Because you are likely friends with the exact same people who need to have this too. So you can say, hey, here's an affiliate program. And again, in Coursey, we have an affiliate management area where you can create affiliates. You can track their affiliate pay, and you can give them affiliate links that are for them. And usually I recommend doing 10 to 30% of your course sale will be an affiliate price for them for that, because you don't have to pay for a Facebook lead or advertising. It just comes in through their recommendation, right? And then lastly, I put it here, but really you're right. You should start doing this content strategy, honestly, whenever you're ready for it. But my advice here is to have a content strategy where you make one long form piece of content. In other words, what I like to do is create a long YouTube video, 5 to 8 minutes, where I'm talking about 1 to 3 topics. And then once I do that YouTube video, I'll then create 3 to 5 short form content pieces that could be perfect for Instagram Reels, TikToks, things that I can put on Facebook, etc. So I'm big into YouTube as well. And I think you talking about that and doing that is a huge asset for you. And all of these things should be then kind of branded and then linked to you and your brand to kind of put them in the funnel and the stratosphere of, hey, if you want to learn more about XYZ, like I have this lead magnet for you. You don't call it a lead magnet, but I have this asset for you. You can snag, and then it puts them in your system and it kind of pushes them through your process. Also a big fan of podcasts for the same reason. You can create long form content and then you can splice it up into lots of short form content and then benefit from, TikTok and Reels, etc.
Okay.
So that's essentially my advice about how to launch and promote and market your course.